The Mandalorian Season 3 review. Welcome to my review. There will be spoilers in this. And first and foremost, a big thank you to everyone who was participating in the watch parties, watched the breakdowns, had fun with me in all the videos. And I want to continue to have some fun in today's video, where we go over my personal review of The Mandalorian Season 3, unfiltered and raw. Okay, so Season 1, extremely exciting. We run into a new Mandalorian, very new story, and it's very Star Wars-esque. It feels like George Lucas Star Wars. And we get this Mandalorian, Din Djarin, who hates droids, is very stoic, cold, sullen, cool, like a John Wayne kind of guy. Now, he comes across this bounty, very mysterious, by the Empire. Holy crap, but the Empire's been dead for 5 years. So what's going on here? So he takes the job, and who is it that he collects? Little baby Grogu, a little baby Yoda. Holy moly, were we all surprised. I remember that moment. I remember that night. I wasn't even doing watch parties, I don't think. I was just watching. I'm like, what the freaking hell? Anyways, so we go on, and we're already like very peaked. We're very curious on the edge of our seats. Holy crap, another Yoda species. We've only seen two, Yoda and Yaddle. Not counting, of course, the one from the Old Republic games. So we want to know, who's the Yoda baby? Is it Yoda's actual child? Did Yoda and Yaddle get freaky? Why is the Empire after him? Why is this child so heady? What the heck is the reason that they're doing all these experiments on him for? Are they trying to clone him? Is he a clone? What are all these questions? What are all these answers? Taking us into Season 2, where he's now trying to be reunited with his people. Holy crap, we're going to go to Yoda's planet. We're going to find a whole bunch of Yoda. Are they all, who are they? Are they all talking funny? Are they all extremely powerful in the Force? How many are there? Are they all extinct? Where are their people from? What are they like? Is Yoda super famous on the planet, or is he one of the weaker ones? We want to know all of these questions. Then we get Ahsoka in the mix, and then we get Boba Fett in the mix, and it's just boom, 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 boom. Then Luke Skywalker comes in, saves the day. Grogu goes with him. We're left wondering, holy crap, what happens to Grogu now? What happens to Luke? We just saw Luke, not being Luke from The Last Jedi, but being Luke from Return of the Jedi, Legends Luke. And then we get to see Din take his helmet off. That's sacrilegious. What's going to happen now? Moff Gideon is arrested. We had so many questions. Book of Boba Fett came out. First two episodes were amazing. Then, just kind of trailed off, and Boba became Beta Fett a little bit. And then there was the finale, and then, Boba and Din teamed up. We got some Din episodes in there, which were really great. But then we saw that eventually Grogu left Luke, went back with Din, and we're like, what? This is lame. Then we get The Mandalorian Season 3, and really, it's super safe. There isn't really a threat in the galaxy. Moff Gideon's not around that we know of. We get some episodes of, chasing dragons. We get a little flashback of Order 66. Grogu is saved by Claren Beck. That's really, the highlight of that moment. End of episode 5, we see that Moff Gideon did escape with the help of some Mandalorians. Who were the Mandalorians? Or was it just, the stormtroopers with Mandalorian armor? We still don't fully know the answer to that, but probably the stormtroopers. Then we don't see him until episode 7. We get a Dr. Pershing full episode, not with Mando, and we're really limited on the amount of time that we see Mando and Grogu together. It's really all Bo-Katan, and don't get me wrong, Bo is really cool. I love Bo. I loved seeing her story and her character progression. Loved Katie Sackhoff. She was doing a great job as Bo-Katan. She really sells the character well. So, okay, at this point, I'm like, yeah, I like the characters, but really nothing exciting is happening. It's really quite lackluster, quite boring, to be honest. And Grogu is really pointless in this season, I'm thinking at this point. He should have just stayed with Luke, and that would have been much more of a important character development and an interesting character development than, what's going on right now, because he's kind of just sidelined for the most part. We get to see the Mythosaur. That was cool. Bo-Katan is mopey in the beginning, and we're thinking maybe something's up. She's going to switch on us, or she's just playing everybody. Then she goes to the armor. She becomes one of the children of the Watch for the meantime, and she keeps looking at the Mythosaur sign on the wall, and we're thinking, okay, she's just playing everybody. She's trying to get them all on her side, and then she's going to, turn everyone when she starts riding the Mythosaur. Then she tells the armor that the Mythosaur was seen, that she saw it. The armor doesn't believe her. Then a few episodes later, she does. She's like, but you have seen the Mythosaur. What? Okay. So then she rolls with it and basically says that Bo-Katan is the one to join all of them. So finally we go on a mission where Bo is going to band together a lot of the Mandalorians that are out in the galaxy, kind of being just bounty hunters or, guns for hire. Her old crew, essentially, is what she's trying to do. Then we sidestep on this whole like Lizzo, Jack Black, Christopher Lloyd. Love Christopher Lloyd. And it was, an episode that I like to have seen if we got, 16 episodes this season. I enjoyed the fact that there were droids, for sure, that are still around from the Separatist era, from the Clone Wars, and they're being utilized for good and for other things, and they have their own droid little bar and all this stuff. It was cute. It was fun. But not for like the 6th episode of an 8-episode season that we waited 2+ years for, mind you. That was originally canceled after a year, or prolonged or delayed, and then eventually we got the date much later on. It felt like it just went by like that. And really, when like someone just keeps talking and talking and talking, but really bro said a whole lot of nothing? Kind of like what happened this season. Moff Gideon comes back in the 7th episode a little bit. Then we see Paz Vizsla dies, unfortunately, which I feel like could have been completely sidestepped. He could have just walked backwards and kept shooting and then escaped with everyone else. So then that brings us to episode 8 pretty much. And I'm leaving out some stuff, but I'm getting to the main things that kind of stick out in my mind at this moment without writing everything down methodically in a breakdown. Bro Gideon has Din taken by 2 stormtroopers. 2 stormtroopers! I mean, like, there should be an entire squad taking him to the freaking debriefing room, okay? So of course he defeats the stormtroopers, Grogu steps in, and really the finale of the whole season, which is really like 2 episodes of conflict. The rest were just super relaxed and laid back. We find out that Moff Gideon was just cloning himself the whole time. A lot of those clones that we saw in season 2 in those tanks didn't look like humans. A lot of them looked like Snoke or some other sort of abomination. So I feel like, the script was maybe changed halfway through the show or something, because it just doesn't really make sense unless he was cloning someone else. But he wasn't. He literally said, I'm just cloning myself, the best parts of me, and I'm imbuing myself with the Force. So that also brings me to the point, well, it's really impossible to clone Force sensitives, just as we've learned in Legends, unless they're abolishing that, because why didn't Palpatine just do that? He could have just cloned Darth Maul like 1,000,000 times, and he would have had the most insane army. And strap on some Zillo Beast armor on him, and game over. He's literally Darth Bane with the Obelisks. So there's that. Okay, Moff Gideon is looking at them on the map, walking towards his cloning facility center with all the clones in the tanks lined up, and he's just waiting there. He's just chilling. So he says, I'm gonna go get them. He goes this way, and he's just waiting for Grogu and Din the entire time, and knows that they could potentially be going through this cloned area if he's watching them on the freaking GPS that he has, probably on his watch. And he goes through, and he's just still not doing anything. They go in, they explode all the clones of Moff Gideon, and he still doesn't do anything. They go through the door from the cloning room, and the door closes. And then Moff Gideon's on the other side when he went out this way. So it's like he literally went around to, what was the purpose of that? Then he says, my clones were imbued with Force sensitivity until you smothered them. And it's like, bro, you literally had like 15 minutes where you could have stopped them. You knew you had a map to the game. You knew where all the characters were. Bro literally had a UAV to the whole map and could see all of his enemies walking around, seeing where they are. And he knew, and he's just waiting there for dramatic effect, just chilling. So that leads me to think that, okay, either this is just really stupid writing, or Moff Gideon's really stupid, or this is indeed one of the stupider clones. Point and simple. Like, he doesn't have a mustache, nothing. So maybe this dude's just a clone. The real Moff Gideon's out there or already left, the one that we saw go that way, and then he ended up over there. And he's imbued with the Force at this point. So it's like, fights Din Djarin. Grogu fights the Praetorian Guards a little bit just by hopping on the scaffold. A pole falls on him like this big, and he's having a hard time with the Force. Then Din Djarin shows up, fights the Praetorian Guards, who are supposed to be extremely powerful, and held their own against Rey and Ben. And look, I got my qualms about the sequel trilogy, no doubt, you guys know this, but Rey and Kylo Ren are leagues stronger than Din Djarin and Grogu. So I'm like, were those different Praetorian Guards? Were these guys just outplayed with the Force? Or I'm a little bit confused. It just seemed like a little bit of a funny game, like if you add those Disney sounds to it, like where Grogu is pulling their weapons away, like what? It's kind of like a cartoon. It's like Looney Tunes a little bit. They're slipping and sliding all over the place. It just seemed a little bit, okay, well, I guess. Now, what I did enjoy were the unison of the Mandalorians all coming together. I loved that. I loved seeing different warring tribes of the same faction coming together as one for a greater threat, for the longevity of their own people. And I loved seeing that. I like seeing people come together, especially when they've been, sworn enemies for their differing beliefs, kind of like, Star Wars fans. So I really liked seeing that. The fight in the air against the stormtroopers with Beskar were kind of like the Siege of Mandalore, but in live action. Really enjoyed seeing Grogu protect Bo and Din with the fire, much like Kanan did. So yeah, I mean, they got a happy ending in the end. Overall, happy episode, but it felt like you're watching someone play a video game on the easiest difficulty that was ever. Like, there's easy, and then there was like, wow, you're a noob. You don't know how to use a controller. It kind of felt like that. And I'm just wondering what happened this season, because the first 2 seasons were mind-blowingly great, and it was literally the only thing that Disney had for a lot of people. A lot of people were saying, I've seen the comments, I've seen the tweets, I've seen so many of you say, I'm just here for The Mandalorian, and if that fails, I really don't care anymore about Star Wars. And that's a sad state that many of us are in, but that's the responsibility that Disney has to take for their actions and, their lack of care for what they did with the sequel trilogy, which rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. So overall, I don't think the season of The Mandalorian season 3 was anything special or spectacular at all like it was for season 1 or season 2. I think it felt really all over the place, disjointed, and just there was no tension. Everything was pretty chill for the most part. Okay, Dr. Pershing didn't have a good time, but are we really all that invested in Dr. Pershing? Not really. It was cool seeing Coruscant again. It was cool seeing the Ralph McQuarrie original concept designs of the fair on Coruscant. But beyond that, I need more, to give me some good Star Wars. There really was no overall threat. And Moff Gideon coming back again, I mean, whatever, dude. Give me a bigger villain. And something this season was missing was the Force. I know a lot of people are going to be up in arms. He just wants lightsabers. He just wants Luke Skywalker. Yeah, I want what Star Wars is about. Isn't that what Star Wars is about? It's about the Force. It's about family ties. It's about lightsabers. About Jedi and Sith. It's not, just Star Trek. So there's a little bit more to it than just people in space with, blasters and stuff like that. So Grogu didn't really do a whole lot. We didn't learn all that much about him. We had a little Order 66 scene, but, I would have loved if we had gone more in depth in another episode with the story of Grogu and Claren Beck, or maybe even that one episode could have followed Grogu and Claren Beck. That would have been sick to me, but it is what it is. So overall, I would give season 1 a 8 out of 10. I would give season 2 a 9.5. It's really difficult to get a 10 on anything. I'd give season 3 an overall 5 out of 10. It was really basic, really safe, and just really didn't have a whole lot of tension whatsoever. What, like the pirates? No. So that's my review of season 3 of The Mandalorian. Where we go from here, you can watch that in another video that I'll have out for you. But essentially, they've kind of just reset the show, and it almost feels like they may not even continue the show just with the way the characters have ended here. It's like, cool, they're happy, they're safe. Din's kicking his feet up on his new home like Thanos, and Grogu's just playing with frogs. Sweet deal. Let's see what happens. I mean, we didn't get any announcement of season 4 at Star Wars Celebration, and I remember when season 1 was out, there was an announcement of season 2, or even before season 1 was out, there was an announcement of season 2. So it's like, I'm wondering when, the next announcement's going to be. So anyways, that's my review of Mandalorian season 3. Let me know what your review is. Was I a little bit too harsh? Was I too nice? Lord knows. I await your comments below, and I'd love to see what you guys think about the show as well as a whole. Overall, very nice show. Played it safe. Nothing really bad to say about it. I think Grogu will eventually rise to ride the Mythosaur. I think that was really the whole point in the end, that he connected with the beast and he was able to make it open its eyes to feel him as it, bellowed. But all that stuff is, pie in the sky. It's far away. And what kind of adventures we have ahead of us with these guys, I don't know. I mean, they can write some really cool stuff because it's quite flexible now at this point, but will they? I guess we'll see. I hope they do. I hope to see a season 4. So let me know. Is Moff Gideon alive? Are we going to see Thrawn next season? Is it going to tie into the Ahsoka show? Is the Balin Jedi guy from the Ahsoka show going to be around in this? Is he the antagonist? Are we going to see Luke again? What's going on? What's going to happen with season 4? Let me know your thoughts below. What do you think of season 3? Love you all, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you always.